Judaism. So we now assume that theism is true, and we see which position within theism is true. We'll begin with Judaism in this video. Instead of the worldview calculus we found so helpful in stage 1 of the argument, we'll use the position calculus, or PC, in stage 2. PC amounts to the same thing as WC, the worldview calculus, only we are applying it to a position instead of a worldview. As a position is more specific than a worldview, the questions shall have to become more specific, the questions that we ask. The WC questions, to remind you, were as follows. Question 1, is the worldview complete? Question 2, is the worldview consistent? Question 3, is the worldview livable? Question 4, does the worldview correspond to fairly uncontroversial facts about reality? The corresponding PC question shall be as follows. 1. Does the position give a fuller account of reality as seen from the perspective of the worldview, than rival positions within the same worldview? If the answer is yes, then the position is more complete than its rivals within the same worldview, the rivals within the same worldview. Now for the second question that should be asked of a position, number 2, is the position more consistent than its rivals within the same worldview? Number 3, in a very analogous way, is the position more livable than its rivals, again within the same worldview? And number 4, does the position correspond to reality more than its rivals? You see what I've done here, don't you? All that has changed is that the questions are more specific. I mean to say, with respect to worldviews, we are comparing them with reality. Does atheism correspond to reality? Does pantheism correspond to reality? And so on. But with respect to positions, we are comparing them, the positions, to a specific worldview. Given worldview X, does position Y cut the mustard? In this case, of course, the worldview is theism. Instead of asking, is this worldview complete with, instead of asking, is this worldview complete relative to reality, I am now asking, is this position complete relative to the worldview? And is it consistent, livable, and so on? This is a very simple idea, but my convoluted way of expressing it may cause you to miss the forest for the trees. Go back and listen to this part again if it's not crystal clear to you. Alright, so Judaism. Okay. Now, when I speak of Judaism, I will sometimes speak of ethnic or ethnical Judaism or Jews, ethnic Judaism or ethnic Jews, and by that I just mean a somebody whose ethnicity is Jewish. Okay, and I missed my place here. Sorry about that. I've got a script typed out on my computer, and I'm always going to the wrong part in the script, and then I have to scroll all the way through it to get back to where I left off. So we established theism, and now we're looking more specifically at a position within theism, which one is true. And as I said, I'll be speaking sometimes of ethnic Jews, but I'll also speak of Judaism in a more in a different sense. So let's see here. Okay, I've gotten back to where I left off. Before we can really look at this position, Judaism, we have to be clear what the position is. But it is perhaps more difficult to nail down precisely what this position is, more so than with other worldviews or positions. By Jew or Jewish or Judaism, I shall mean something like the following. Now, this is not the best definition for general purposes, and it will leave out some people and views that really are Jewish, but it will serve our purposes here. By non-inclusion in the formal definition, I do not mean anything derogatory or anti-Semitic. Neither do I mean to suggest that people falling outside of the definition I'm about to give are not true Jews or are not really Jewish. Rather, the facts of the case make it necessary to state some specific definition, and that definition shall suit our purposes well, while being inadequate for other purposes. So the definition of Judaism as opposed to ethnic Jews or ethnic Judaism, the definition of Judaism itself is as follows. Judaism is that position within the theistic worldview which accepts what Christians call the Old Testament as an authoritative and an accurate revelation of God, a special revelation of God. They believe everything the Old Testament teaches. However, they reject Jesus in the New Testament as the Jewish Messiah. Christians interpret the Old Testament to teach that Jesus was the ethnic Jewish. Christians interpret the Old Testament to teach that Jesus was the ethnic Jewish Messiah. So then, in our sense, a Jew is a person who believes in the Old Testament but does not believe in Jesus as Messiah. There are different strands within Judaism. Some take the Old Testament more seriously than others, and some take it more mystically than others, but all agree that Jesus was not the Messiah. Judaism, in our sense, includes more than this, but at least this much. Is Judaism more complete than Islam or Christianity? Well, the coming of a Messiah is a pretty significant aspect of Old Testament teaching. The Jew has three options here. He can admit there is a coming Messiah, but the said Messiah has not yet arrived. Second, he can admit the Messiah has come, but was not, in fact, Jesus. Third, he can deny the Old Testament. He can deny that the Old Testament prophesies of a coming Messiah at all. He can deny that, the Old Testament doesn't prophesy that there will be a Messiah to come. I do not think the second option is taken very seriously by very many Jews. Correct me if I'm wrong on that score. There are problems with the first option. First, some passages of the Old Testament seem to teach the Messiah shall be crucified. Psalm 22, for example, seems to depict the crucifixion of the Messianic Jesus, and presumably nobody is crucified today or will be crucified in the future other than as a parody of the crucifixion of Jesus. Second, Daniel chapter 9 seems to prophesize that the Messiah will come several hundred years after the temple is built. This was about the time the historical Jesus lived. Certainly we are long past that time now. And the third reason we will look at in the next video.